So I want to start with Napkin AI. Has anyone used Napkin AI? You can just kind of give me a thumbs up in the chat, or you can let me know if you have. And this is a wonderful platform that solves a problem almost all of us will have had in this room. So what does it do? It takes text, so a paragraph, a document, or a concept, and it converts it into a professional visual diagram automatically. So we can create things like flowcharts, timelines, comparisons, process maps incredibly quickly. And it reads our content and decides the right structure. So sometimes if we don't know what we actually need to be adding in, we can utilize platforms like Napkin AI to create us that visual aspect without going to a designer, without having to have that extra time back and forth within a team to create something to support our written content. Now, as always, I like you to understand the AI that happens within these platforms. So Napkin uses a combination of NLP, which is natural language processing, to parse the semantic structure of our text, and a layout engine trained to match content type to the appropriate visual format. It's not just a template filler, yeah? It interprets meaning. So what is it good for? It's good for client-facing strategy documents where a diagram would help, but you don't have a designer. It's good for things like proposals and reports, turning a text paragraph into a visual in under a minute. So it's pretty quick. It's great for training materials, process documentation, or onboarding documents. So the free tier is genuinely useful, but you can also upgrade to get Pro from $8 a month. So that is where you have to start thinking if you would use it to produce more than a handful of documents per month. How would we like to add text? Now, a great thing about Napkin as well is it can also generate the long form content if you needed it to. It's not the best at that. That's not what the kind of AI system is good at, but you can also get your blog created in here. So we're gonna start there together. So I'm going to describe my idea. So let's have a think. So if we were doing something for business development, we could look at AI implementation within a team. Yeah, very basic prompt there. As always, please improve your prompts to get better out, but for the kind of sake of time, I will just do a very quick prompt here. And then we click next. So what this is doing is it's going to write it for me first. Yeah, so it's going to be very bad writing. Realistically, it's going to be, as we know, generative AI creates the most probable version of things based on the prompt that we give it. Because I gave it a bad prompt, let's not expect the best out of it. Now, if I want to create a visual for any aspect of this, all I need to do is to highlight and press generate visuals. So what it's now going to do is it's taking that content that I have created and it's going to give me different versions of a visual that I can use to add to my document. I don't really like the multiple hat thing. I can go for a pie chart. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. What it will then do is it will give me options of the style that I want to create with this. And let's go. Yeah, let's go for that one. Now, what you can also then do is you can change the fonts on here, the colors on here. You can swap the layout, you can add your own branding, and you can also sync it again with text. So bearing in mind, if you go back and you edit anything in the document, so you add information, you're going to want that to reflect in the visual, right? We're going to have to just make sure that it works. So then you can just double check. You can also export the visual if you would like to. So I can do this for any aspect of this document. Yeah. So now if I wanted to create a visual for the planning and strategy, it is now going to do that for me. Maybe I want something slightly different than a kind of pie chart here, quite like the cogs. So let's have a look and choose the cogs maybe. And all of a sudden I have a document that gives me the kind of visual for that aspect of my blog or my content. So what the AI is doing is it is taking the kind of content that I am selecting, and it is then comparing it against what visual would make the most sense for that process. What it then does is it gives us the opportunity to create and edit. And I think it is one of the most useful kind of AI tools out there, especially if you create proposals, if you create kind of various things that clients need access to, because you can use Brand Studio and add in your kind of brands. You can create your own visual that it will follow every single time. So if you have certain fonts, certain colors, certain sizes, certain words, you can add that all into the brand. So that's my first AI tool that I think is pretty useful, realistically, for any of us needing to create proposals, visuals, and all of everything that you saw me do was on the free tier. The only difference within the free tier and the not free tiers is the amount that you will want to create within that. So that's our first kind of useful tool.